What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some Dragon Ball FighterZ for y'all. So today, I know a couple days ago I talked about UI Goku. I want to keep on kind of talking about the more popular characters of Season 3. I've been talking about a bunch of the uncommon ones, or characters that I think people are kind of overlooking, like Vegito, like Blue Goku. But today, I want to talk about my big boy, Broly. Also, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you already have not. It does help the channel grow, and I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, Broly, this character came into the forefront in Season 2 because of the kill stage. He kind of took a risk playing his own shell of Broly SSJ Goku instead of playing the more established GT style teams or double beam teams. Now, to be honest, I kind of joked around a lot about this at the end of Season 2, but I was like, yo, if they like nerf Snap and Fuzzies and they just make the game more about neutral and stuff, I think it might be time to pick up Broly. And when I saw the system change of Season 3, I did what I said I was going to do, and I put Broly on my team. Now, this character was a huge issue for people to deal with against an effective, strong Broly. Tall characters were super underrated in Season 2 because people were so worried about defense. They're worrying a little bit too much, in my opinion, about getting fuzzied and not enough about the other special tools that these characters has. But now, in Season 3, you don't have to worry about these things, and people are just basically picking whatever character, which is a good thing, of course. Now, we've actually had discussions on my stream and stuff where there are people who legitimately think this is the best character in the game, Broly. I do not agree with this totally, but I do think he's top tier, very strong, like a top 5 character, and I think he's pretty well balanced in like a strong way, and I kind of want to just look at the different aspects of his game again for you guys. So the main thing is that he's a grappler with a great neutral game. It sounds pretty overwhelming, especially because like zoning's not supposed to be a really strong thing in the game. So let's start with Ki Blast. So he has a very strong max speed Ki Blast. It travels full screen about 22-23 frames. But not only is it really fast, it also beats other people's Ki Blast straight up. It can clash and beat it, and you could aim it to stop jumps as well. On top of that too, the main counterplay that people tend to use is system mechanics like Super Dash. And as we know, this can be a big risk because if he doesn't commit hard to the Ki Blast, he can anti-air you, making it hard for people to approach him in general. A lot of people who don't play this game or have only played the game a little bit but played other fighting games complain about the lack of chip damage. We also talked about this in reference to Frieza as well, because Frieza kind of works as a zoner as well. But because there's no chip damage, so when these hit you, this combo never does, it basically does like 20% or so. So if Broly is only killing you with just this, he has to hit you 5 times. This game is a 2-touch game. They wanted to have good neutral control, but they didn't want it to get to the point that this was absolutely the best thing. It would just be something to kind of like discipline people a little bit in neutral for him to approach. So it actually brings us to like an ArcSys fighting game general idea from other games. Like, the zoning is obnoxious, like it's hard to deal with, especially if you don't like think about what to do. Counterplay like super jumping or learning how to moon jump, or picking a character that has moves that are good against Ki Blast like Gotenks or something, and thinking that, oh, you know, I can try to push my way in and the zoner has to deal with it because the return is not very high. Remember that Dragon Ball is a 2-touch game, so I feel like the characters who have this high damage zoning type of thing, the obvious immediate downside is that it never does a lot of damage. So he's a way that they could add like defensive play in neutral while making sure the return is not too high, because this is a pretty common theme in ArcSys games where they want people who enjoy zoners to feel like they could do it, but they also want to make sure it's not too strong, because there have been examples in previous ArcSys games of zoning being out of control strong and incredibly hard to deal with. So depending on the team build that he has, so this is my old team of base Vegeta, Trunks, Broly. When I had him out, so I kind of run a similar plan with both teams, that if my point wins the point war, I can choose to bring in Broly. So when I have a beam, I have an incredibly strong neutral game because I have the support of a beam that lets him approach, helps me anti-air by aiming the Ki Blast upward and firing the beam, etc. And then I have an anti-air in my base Vegeta assist as well. But if I choose to not have a more neutral base build and have a build like my current team of Gotenks, Roshi, and Broly, so when Broly's out, I have screen control, but like I don't have full screen control. So here it's more about I have to mix playing with the Ki Blast and peeling up and using my assist in mid-range. He encourages the opponent to make some type of response about what he's doing, which is a very, very, very common thing in the game. Like, the game wants characters to have strong tools, but then also wants the defender or whoever is fighting against it to have like a pretty clear way of dealing with it. Of course, as I said before, you could use super dash, key, invincible moves and stuff, but you could also try just directly approaching him with dash jumps if they're firing too many key blasts, and paying attention to how many key blasts they like to fire. Do they fire the whole clip all the time? Are they firing just one or two like they're supposed to? Are they only firing straight? Are they firing up? There's a bunch of ways you can kind of move around these. His offense is in a really similar lane. So another reason why people really like him is his offense. He has a command grab. He has a 17 frame command grab, which is basically unreactable. If you ever hear somebody say, look at his hand so that you can react, they're Capstar. Don't fucking listen to them. I'm telling you, you cannot react to this. I promise you, you cannot react to this. Now, he does not actually get a combo off this. You need meter to get damage off it or situation off it. So you can either use his level 1, the slow level 1 that only works in the corner. You could do the fast level 1. This is probably slightly under 30%, 29%. Or you can level 3 and get max return. But of course, you need 3 bars to do it. Now, his offense being based off command grab is one of the biggest, most direct ways that you can see what the devs really want to do with the game. It's a poke throw situation. So if I think you're gonna block, I will grab you. If I think you're going to do other stuff, I will poke. And if I think you're gonna do something invincible, I have to block. So even though he's mixing you up, you are also involved in this interaction directly. For instance, when I pull up with the boys, when I pull up, start the paranormal activity, once I do this, there's not really anything you can do. Like, once the defender blocks my 3 friends and my 4th friend is waiting behind me, you can't do anything. I'm going to high-low you, and then if you block that, I'm going to high-low you again. Very straightforward. Broly, on the other hand, he has clear, very, very, very clear responses to what he can do. If you think I'm going to grab, you can do an invincible move, you can jump, you can backdash, there's a bunch of things you can do. If you think I'm going to jab, you block. It's fine. If you think I'm going to delay and reset my pressure to set up again, you can reflect, you can mash, there's a bunch of things you can do. I am mixing you up, but the defender is directly engaged in this interaction. The game really, really, really likes stuff like this. You can see this too in how they change a lot of level 3. So like, take my good old homie Trunks, who's on both my teams, by the way. I don't care what you guys say. So this is his level 3 since season 2. You are pretty far away. You used to land right here. If you're a certain distance away from the corner, you just put them in the corner so you can't left right them. So the game makes it difficult on purpose to get strong one-sided 50-50s where the attacker has way more advantage than the defender. So Broly, by being a grappler by design, the defender can interact more than other types of mix-ups like Kid Buu, for instance. And this is also why they really like giving characters command grabs or like weird things where it's like kind of slow, but it's like you have to look for them. Roshi is a great example of this, right? So he has a command grab that's 28 frames. Most people would say this is slow, but you could still get them if you condition them. And similarly, he has the 6H, which is 37 frames, which is quite slow. But again, it's something that will work if you set it up in the right space. The last thing about Broly is how he functions as an anchor. So right now, people generally use Broly in one of 2 slots, generally, and for competitive purposes, right? You can play him in the middle and use him with a beam assist to have really powerful neutral control and a really good long game and enable him. Or you can run him as anchor because anchor actually means something in season 3. Partly because of the new mechanic of limit break, right? You come in with a bar and you'll also have a 20% damage boost. In Broly's case, this matters because all the stuff I talked about before about him generally not having return off some of his tools changes. Because now he does 20% more damage off everything. The zoning, of course, he goes from taking 5 touches to kill you to 4 touches. But this command grab into level 3 now does 50%. 55%. To be honest, I had a long time complaint in this game that anchors didn't mean like too much, really. Especially like what ended up happening in season 2, where a lot of people are running anchor SJ Goku. Of course, you generally hear me saying that I pretty much think there's only 2 plans you can run for your anchor. Either be really good at running away or be really good at hitting people. Broly's kind of good at both. And even though Limit Break is a kind of controversial change, like some people really don't like it, it does make it so characters have more clear roles on a team. And I think it's here to stay, and I think Broly is a really good example of it. you can try to legitimately come back with him. It's still kind of tough, and you have to make the choice still of like, am I going to protect my team with sparking, or am I going to save my sparking for my super powerful anchor and try to come back with that? So all in all, I kind of think like, even though he's top 5 in my opinion, he's a pretty reasonable top tier, and he lines up with everything the developers want for the game. He has a clear function on a team if you choose to add him. He mostly helps teams because, you know, since he has a command grab, he has mix-up. You never have to worry about mix-ups with him, but the trade-off is the defender can interact with your mix-up pretty directly because his main way of mixing you up is a grab, and he gives a way for people to play a defensive game without the return being outrageously high. So the things that like most fighting game players would like from a defensive character, like, you know, getting things like chip damage, stuff like that, he does not have. He has strong neutral tools. Some things I didn't even talk about, like eraser blow or his anti-air grab to help deal with people who are trying to jump forward really aggressively. But generally these things don't have high return, or you have to like get them in the corner somehow. So this character's main damage, and this is why he's so focused as an anchor in the game, is telling you play him last. A lot of his main damage comes from the damage buff you'll get from limit break, or having a lot of meter to cash out on double supers, like slow super into the slow level 3, I mean, into another level 1 or another level 3. Having a lot of meter probably implies that he's alive as your last character. So hopefully that makes sense. I am going to go back and also try to make a video about some Broly counterplay, because I do understand a lot of people struggle against him, and this is a really common thing in Arc Sys games as well. I've played a bunch of Arc Sys games at this point where like at high level where like, oh, there's zoners like mid tier or maybe low tier, or maybe they're high or top tier but like manageable, but just the nature of like how the character functions makes it really hard, and people think the character is really tough to deal with. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.